think it might be on.
Hi. Doing swell. I think so. I don't know. I'll find out. I need about 200,000 votes to come in Georgia. Make my life easier.
Call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. on November 4th. We'll do a roll call first. Please say here or present when I call your name. Atagarla. Edvate. Anderson. Bender. Brown. Emery. Fahim. Grant. Green. Gonzalez. Anyang. Hayes. Hovey. Hurley. Klaptotowskis. Lau. Lewis. Ludwig.
Here.
Mass. Pfeiffer. Simano. Schulte. Simonson. Springer. Samuel. Weathers. Young. Zastro. Savosky. Anderson. Did I miss anybody? We do not have quorum. If you know someone that would like to be here, we need 2 more senators in order to conduct business. Senator Stevens didn't designate a proxy over 24 hours in advance, so. Call it. You know any senators? Just text them that aren't here. Not today.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for reaching out. Yeah. Mass. Something popped up with farmhouse. Mass is gonna be late for a bit.
The ones I don't have accounted for. Hurley.
All right, thank you guys so much for having us. We are going to talk a little bit about our project, Growing to Give. Iowa is the #1 producer in corn, soy, pork products, yet despite being a major producer of food in the country and for the world, we also have rampant issues with food insecurity. As of 2014, 1 in 10 Iowans were food insecure, with 1 in 7 children being food insecure. As of the 2014 study, over 20% of Iowans were in poverty, which is higher than state average, and 15% of Iowans in Story County were food insecure, which is also higher than the state average. So our problem is designed to help address this issue within Ames. So a little bit about who we are. My name is Jacob Handel. I am a senior double majoring in environmental science and biology with a minor in agronomy. And for this project, I serve as the interorganizational and volunteer coordinator.
My name is Leah Henderson, and I am a junior in horticulture in the food crop option with minors in both Spanish and agronomy. And for this project, I'm the greenhouse manager and our social media coordinator.
Hi, everyone. You should already know me. I've probably seen my bright, smiling face staring at you a couple times before, but I'll introduce myself again. I am Jennifer Seth. I am the Director of Sustainability of Student Government. I'm also involved in this project, and my primary role in this has been working a lot with outreach, so, kind of connecting this group to other groups and spreading the word, and also helping with funding. I'm in student government. And I am a junior this year studying environmental science and meteorology with a minor in Spanish.
Hi, my name is Jenna Eartham. I am a sophomore triple majoring in horticulture, global resource systems, and Spanish LCP. And I am the greenhouse assistant for this project. We added our contact information, so feel free to ask us any questions.
Next slide, please. All right, so a little bit about our plan specifically. Within Ames and Iowa State University, there are pre-existing programs set in place to offset some of the food insecurity in our community. Some of these include the ISU Hort Farm, the Student Association for Sustainable Agriculture Community Garden, other groups in Ames, and all of these involve growing plants physically outside, which limits them to the growing season. However, when it gets cold, that source dries up. And that's also when students come back to campus. College students are very well documented to representing a high proportion of the food insecure population across the world, and Iowa State students are no different. So our purpose here is to provide fresh grown produce to Iowa State and Ames during a season that is otherwise unable to provide this source. So during the school year, during the cold months, we will be growing our produce inside Iowa State greenhouses. A lot of the greenhouses on campus are underutilized. Specifically, we've been working with the forestry greenhouse, which is a research laboratory, and during the school year, it goes almost completely vacant, giving us lots of space to utilize. So for this first semester, we recently got started, and we're hoping to have food produced over this semester as a pilot project to figure out what we can expand into in the following years. And I'll let my partners talk a little bit more about that.
Next slide, please. All right, so as Jacob said, basically our project is to grow food during the winter months to donate to food pantries in Ames. So what we're doing this semester to get going is we're planting these crops: broccoli, carrots, radishes, potatoes, kale, and spinach, because they are nutrient dense. They're able to grow during the winter season with light restrictions and everything considered. And the idea here is we're going to start harvesting about December because we've already got plants growing, and we'll be doing a continuous harvest all the way through March. So that's going to cover the vast majority of the season in which outdoor growers aren't able to produce fresh foods for pantries or other sources of donation.
Next slide, please. All right, so where are we? We are located in a vacant lot in the forestry greenhouse, as Jacob had said. And this is a little what it looks like. No, it's not in black and white. It actually looks that boring. And if you go to the next slide, you can see what we've already been working on. This weekend, we already put up a raised bed and we built it. If you can look in the top left, you can see that that's our plan for our vegetables. And right below it, we've already started transplants. Next slide, please.
All right, so one of the things about this project that I always thought was really cool is that there are a lot of people involved in putting this together. And so you're probably asking yourselves at this point, great, well, you're gonna grow all this food, well, where is it gonna go? And that's a great question. So for now, all of our food is going to be going to Food at First, which if you're unfamiliar with Food at First, it's a pretty big local food pantry here in Ames. It's right across the way from the police station or City Hall, if you've ever been down to that part of Ames. And we've been working a lot with Patty. She's a great lady. She's one of the workers at Food at First, and she's awesome. And so, yeah, that's where all of our produce is going for now. Hopefully, maybe going to the shop someday, but right now their facilities don't allow us to really bring our produce there, so maybe that's something to look forward to in the future. One thing that we're really excited about that we're planning to do eventually with this project is to expand it into Agronomy 342, which is a World Food Issues Past and Present course. And one of the stipulations that students have to fulfill for this course is they have to complete a certain number of volunteer hours working in food issued related fields. And so this would essentially fulfill that requirement for students if we can get students in volunteering with our greenhouse, because that would be fulfilling that requirement. So we're really excited about that. And then also, we'd like to give a shout out to Dr. Angela Shaw, who gave us a lot of information about food safety training and also some legal advice about how to avoid getting ourselves in trouble and making sure that we're handling the food that we'll be producing properly and that it will be able to be used for the purpose that we want it to be used for. And also, of course, this project is part of the Environmental Science Club, and so also Horticulture Club has been working with us on that project, and our relationship is slowly repairing itself. You can ask us that later if you want. Next slide, please. And so, yeah, the final thing we kind of wanted to talk about a little bit is how all of you can help and get involved. So one of the things I will mention is that this is the project that was funded through Green Initiatives Fund a couple weeks ago that you might have heard about. And so that's kind of why we're here. But some of the things that you can do for us right now is we're a bit small at the moment. This is, we're just getting started. And so we're trying to get the word out to people about what's going on with this project and kind of what we're doing. So we would really, really appreciate it if you would give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook. I manage 3 social media accounts on Instagram, and I have this account followed on all 3 of them. So please do that. And yeah, that's just a great way to get the word out about us. You can kind of see what we're up to, see what we're doing, and, tell your friends about it. If you see somebody on the street and they're talking about maybe an interest in gardening, talk about us a little bit to them. That would be a great experience for them to get some gardening experience. And then also, if you're really interested in this project and you want to get involved, you can feel free to tune into our meetings. We meet online, and anybody's welcome to join. You can kind of come in, just join a couple meetings, see what we're about. And yeah, if it's something you're really interested in, we can definitely get you working right now. Obviously, right now, we can't have a lot of people really working in the greenhouse, but we definitely always need help on the administrative end of things. So yeah, thank you. Any questions for me or any of these people?
Zastro?
I'll just say that this group came through the Green Initiatives Fund, which is something that we have and that's not super utilized most years. And they have done just an incredible job setting this up, communicating with people in the university to use this empty space that already existed, the way that they worked so that it's going to be integrated into a course in the future. I just think it's a really fantastic thing that you guys have done, and I think that we're all really thankful that you're representing student government in this way. So just big thank you for everything that you guys have done on this project.
Behem?
Hi, yeah.
Is this on? Okay. Yes, I'd like to echo Senator Zastro's statements. I think this is an amazing project. I did have a question. I was just curious. Do you know where Food at First is currently getting their fresh food from, both in the summer and in the winter months?
Yeah, so they are partnered with the grad student organization, Sustainable Agriculture Student Association, SASA, and they do have a community garden on location at the Food at First church that they work out of. They also use monetary donations to buy in bulk and get a lot of donations that way. I know they have a lot of partnerships with the surrounding grocery stores. I don't know what people's background is with that, but briefly, a lot of grocery stores have food that expire past the point of legally being able to sell it, but are not yet legally expired to be donated. And so I know Hy-Vee participates in it. Jewel Osco does it in my hometown in Illinois. Panera does a lot with that. So they're able to get food sourced that way as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for presenting, even though it wasn't maybe to a full room, but appreciate it.
Thank you. And if you have any emails, you can feel free to reach out to my email address. My phone number is also on the slides if you prefer that. I like to keep myself pretty accessible.
And then maybe Jen could email the PowerPoint out to all of Senate, so then they all have the email.
Yeah, I can do
Okay.
that. No problem whatsoever. I'll do that right now.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
So we'll go to rules with Speaker Ludwig.
All right. Rules met last week. We just had two main items on our agenda. We were finishing up the contracts report. We are just finalizing some language up on that this Thursday, so hopefully have that out to you early or mid, early next week, maybe middle of the week. And then the other item was we did a nonfeasance review regarding some nonfeasances that a senator had received, and we decided not to pursue further action at the time, so the nonfeasances will stand, but we are not recommending anything to Senate.
Great. Any questions? Then seeing none, we'll go to finance with Zastro.
Howdy, y'all. Finance Director Class isn't feeling well today. He's got the sniffles, so I will be giving the weekly finance report. So we met yesterday. We saw a few things. So we have Hockey Pep Band. That's a group that came here. The great treasurer, David Uselman, I think is here. Hi, David. So then we're dealing with them. We ended up sending that no bias because it feels kind of like a gray area in PNC. For funding outreach ambassadors, they're part of student government. That is buttons that have already been put through trademark. Really great thing that they've done so far. We're going to be talking about 2 debt contracts tonight. One with women's hockey. That's a very standard debt contract. And then for Ski and Snowboard Club, that's a little bit of a different situation, and we'll talk about that when we get to the bill. But Finance Director Class seemed excited to hopefully get that passed. Then we also saw we sent both of those debt contracts favorably, as well as outreach ambassadors was sent favorably. Then for the SI committee survey, that was also sent favorably. That bill is going to be added tonight. And then for new business, we're having 2 more debt contracts that we're going to be coming through. And then finally, PNC 2022 is going to be up for a second read next Wednesday. If you could please get any amendments that you want to make into me before next Monday, that would be ideal. So that way Finance Committee is able to talk about them a little bit, get the wording right as to how we'd want to put it in PNC. But we're really excited for all that. That's all I got.
Great. Any questions? Then PR, Go with President Fritz.
Yes. Hello. So the first thing that will be happening this week is that the survey on COVID-19 will be posted on social media. Their one-pager should be sent to Anna Olson by the end of the week so that diversity and inclusion can check over them. They're busy doing residence hall visits right now just to make sure that people living in the residence halls know what student government is and what we do. And look out for tabling sessions from the spring because those will be coming up here. So that would be a great time to sign up for them before the semester starts to get busy.
Great. And we'll go to diversity and inclusion. Also with President Fritz.
Yep. So the big thing happening is that the Multicultural Diversity Roundtable is happening on November 12th at 6 p.m. And the goal is for student government to build community with other students. So it's really important that we have representatives there. So just make sure that if you're able to be there, that would be great. Just to hear concerns from students and student organizations, and find out ways that we can help improve Iowa State.
Okay, then we'll do SI with Senator Hovey.
Yes. Oh, hello. Okay, wait. Hello? Okay, yeah. So, first I just wanted to say that the mental health walk went awesome. Thank you so much to Director Clark and Director Young for planning such an awesome event. And also thank you to everyone that came and helped or just attended. We had a really great turnout, so that was really just cool to see. Just some updates. So Senator Edvate and Director Clark had a meeting with ISU Dining about the Give a Swipe program, like donating meal swipes to other people. They said that they will let us know by December if they plan on doing that initiative again. Senator Grant contacted the Student Counseling Services, and they are interested in setting up a meeting to talk about any issues they're facing, anything they need help with, and to talk about ways to support needs and promote services as well. And yeah, so a new idea we had is a student concern survey. We want to send out a mass email to students with a survey, just asking them to detail their top concerns and what can be improved on campus during the era of COVID-19. And this will just be a good way for us to begin to plan different initiatives that are specific to these issues that are brought on by COVID-19. And we also want to provide up to 54 Amazon gift cards for the students who participate, who will be entered in a raffle to win those gift cards. So yeah. Oh, and also, if we do end up getting quorum at the end of the meeting, Senator Hayes will be doing the meeting recap. So if you could find him, that would be awesome. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions for SI? I'll go to civic engagement, and I'll give it to Senator Fahim.
Okay, so the election was yesterday, so to prepare for that, we tabled on Monday for the election. We had buttons and all of that. We had candy, it was a good time, and then the election being yesterday, 50,000 votes were cast in Story County overall, so that's pretty good. And we'll be turning our sights on next semester for some special projects. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Then I'll go to, Senator Kloptowskis.
I'm just curious, do you have any data on how the results from Ames compared to like 2018 or 2016 yet? Or are those still coming in?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the results that are out right now are still unofficial. So we don't have like the exact breakdown of who all voted in what precinct compared to 2018, 2016 in regard to election day and absentee ballots. They're a little bit scattered at the moment. And so once we get that out, which I think will be either tonight or tomorrow, you'll be able to see that on the Story County Auditor's website. And there's like a nice little tab that has all previous elections, and they just list them right off there. So you can see 2019, 2018, all of them.
Then we'll go to comments from the executive branch with President Fritz.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. So Vice President Schrader and I had a meeting with Associate Provost Vander Zanden where we just spoke about considerations for the spring semester and ways to improve classes in there. We also had a meeting with Dean Evans where we discussed post-election considerations and just general student issues. We also had an open educational resources meeting with Director Paulson, Director Campbell, and Abby Elder, who is Iowa State's open access librarian, to discuss the expansion of OERs and how student government can assist in that. She gave us a few great ideas from other universities that we're going to look into supporting and doing here. And finally, the mental health walk. So big thank you to Director Clark, Director Young, Senator Hovey, and Director Olson for planning and tabling at the Focus Pocus event. It had some great turnout, and I think that it really connected some students to resources with ISU PD and student health and wellness. And then finally, you are still able to submit comments on the renaming policy until November 25th. So if you haven't read through that document, I would highly recommend doing that and submitting your comments and questions and ideas there. And that's all. Thank you.
Are there any questions for President Fritz? All right. Then I don't see we have quorum. It is 36 minutes after the top of the hour. Senator Jastrow, do you know if Senator Samuel will be soon? How soon? All right. So
I move to recess until a quorum is present.
I don't think that motion is even in order right now. And I don't think I would like to have a definite time frame.
10 minutes, Senator Zastrow.
All right, let's go to 6:45, and that's it. That's the last deadline. If I honestly get here by 6:45, it's your jobs. Thank you. by exactly. So if you leave the room for any reason, we will have to stop the meeting until you come back. So if you really have to go to the bathroom, please move to recess or coordinate it with people. And let's try and move the debate along quick, since we do have that requirement among us today. We will do a Pledge of Allegiance led by Speaker Ludwig.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, with consent of the Senate, we'll move past program and open forum to adopting the agenda. Are there any amendments to tonight's agenda? Senator Edvate.
Move to add 2020-2-038F, 2020-2-039Y, and 2020-2-067SR to the top of new business.
What was the code on the last one?
2020-02-067SR.
Okay, so there's been a motion to add 038F, 039Y, 067SR to the top of new business.
Second.
There's a second. Is there any objection? Okay, seeing no objection, those have been added to the top of new business. Senator Edvate, do you yield? Senator Zastro.
Motion to add to move 2020-2-61SA and 2020-2-62SA to external matters below funding hockey pep band.
There's been a motion to move the two contracts to external matters. Is there any objection? Seeing none, those have been moved in the agenda. Are there any further amendments to tonight's agenda?
Motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
All right, so there's been a motion to adopt in a second. Is there any objection? Tonight's agenda has been approved. We'll go into approval of the minutes from last week. Are there any amendments to last week's minutes?
Move to adopt last week's minutes.
Been a motion to approve and a second. Is there any objection? Then seeing none, the minutes have been approved. With consent of the Senate, we'll move past committee reports and comments from the executive branch right to external matters. Then external matters, we have 2020-2-034F funding hockey pep band, and that is with Senator Zastro.
Yeah, so David, if you could come up to the podium. So this is funding hockey pep band. Their general request, they're the band that plays at the hockey games, and unlike the other pep bands they might see for soccer and the end zone and football, they're not funded through the ISU music department. They are just a student organization, and they're funded by their members and us, and you guys get pizza after the games from hockey, right?
Not this year.
Oh, wow. So
normally.
Really falling through on sponsors. But yeah, so do you just want to explain this request a little bit?
Yeah, so the marching band, which I'm a member of, they have these special masks that they look just like any other mask, but they have a slit down the middle and then a second slit in the back that's offset so you can fit your mouthpiece through and play your instrument safely. So you don't have to pull the mask down. And we also have special bell covers that sit on the ends of our bells so that even the air that we do blow through the instrument gets filtered. And in order to do everything safely this year, we are requesting funding to buy masks and bell covers for the entire band. Because even though we have a large portion of our members are in the marching band, we don't get to keep the bell covers at the end of the season. And our masks, they break, we lose them, that kind of stuff, so we need them.
So the reason that Finance Committee sent this no bias is because there's not really any part of PNC that this would fall under. We agree that it's definitely not a uniform, which is something that is a funding ineligible expenditure. So kind of the core discussion is whether or not we should be funding what essentially amounts to PPE for student orgs. This is a really unusual situation. Of course, when we wrote PNC, we had no idea that this is the kind of thing that we would need to be dealing with. I definitely think that we should be funding this, and I think if other clubs come to us with similar requests, whether it's just for masks, for their events, or for gloves, or for hand sanitizer, that's the kind of thing that I think we should be funding. And I'd also like to note that we already have funded PPE for ourselves, and I think although we're a partnered organization and PNC doesn't necessarily apply to us in the same way that it applies to other clubs, I think that we shouldn't say that we're good enough to pay for hand sanitizer and gloves and masks, but we're not going to do it for other clubs. This is an expense that bands uniquely have, and this is a band that uniquely is not funded through the music department. So I'd really encourage you all to vote yes on this bill. I yield.
Move into the general discussion period on the bill. I'm going to call to question in a second. Is there any objection to voting on the bill?
No
Ms.
statement.
Astro? Okay. Then we will go to a roll call vote. Please say yes, no, or abstain when I call your name. Adagarla. Yes. Edvate. Yes. Anderson. Brown. Yes. Emery. Yes. Fahim. Yes. Grant. Yes. Green. Yes. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Anyang. Yes. Hayes. Yes. Hovey. Yes. Klaptowskis. Lau. Yes. Lona. Yes. Ludwig.
Yes.
Mass. Yes. Pfeiffer. Yes. Schulte. Yes. Simonson. Yes. Springer. Yes. Samuel. Yes. Weathers. Yes. Zastro. Yes. And with a vote of 24 to 0, this funding request passes. We'll move on to the next item of business, which is 2020-2-035F, funding outreach ambassadors, and as with Vice Speaker Gonzalez.
Point of information, my motion moved the 2 debt contracts above outreach ambassadors.
Okay, my bad. So I thought. So we'll go to 2020-2-061SA, ski and snowboard debt contract with Senator Zastro.
Thank you. So if you could go to the podium. So this is a more unique contract than others. With most contracts that we see, like the women's hockey contract that we'll be seeing here in a second as well, it is for debt that a club has already accrued because maybe money was misallocated and then taken out of their accounts again. This is a different situation. You can go ahead and explain it.
All right, so last year the treasurer of the club improperly spent some money that we were given money from the student government. So that money was audited out of the account, so it was basically spent twice for our club. And we had a spring break trip that was canceled, and we are now having to give out refunds to everybody on the trip. And the refunds are $770 each, and the club currently only has $6,000 due to the audit that was taken of our account. So we would need an extra $1,700 to go through with the refunds, and everyone is emailing us trying to get these refunds done as quick as possible, but we don't have the money to currently do that. So we are trying to get a $2,000 loan so we can fulfill all the refunds to everybody.
Thank you. And so what are some ways that your club makes money?
We have club dues that everyone pays, and this year we are currently trying to, we have different socials, so everyone pays $40 in club dues, and that covers all the socials. So this year we're trying to cut back on some of the social costs so we can have more money to pay back some of the refunds.
I'll open this up for discussion in 1 second, but something about this club, they've very regularly come to annual allocations. They're a club that we don't really have to worry much when it comes to them showing up to things that we need them to show up to. So I trust this club in general. The history of the club's been pretty good with relationship with the student government. I yield.
Move on to the general discussion period. Bill, call. Senator Simonson.
I got a question for the author of the bill. Should the first order clause say ski and snowboard club, not women's hockey club?
Yes, it should. Could I take that as friendly?
Yes. Unless there's objection.
Thank you for catching that.
Awesome. That's all I got. Senator Klaptowskis.
I was just wondering if you could comment on why the amount is $2,000 and not the $1,700 that you need to cover the refunds.
I was going over this with Matthew class, and he was saying that it was probably best to do a little more so we would have a positive balance in our account so we can spend what we currently need to spend on for our current socials.
I yield.
Okay, so there's been a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting now on the bill? Okay, then I'll give Senator Zastro a closing statement. Okay, so then I'll go to a roll call vote. Please say yes, no, or abstain when I call your name. Adagarla. Yes. Edvate. Yes. Anderson. Yes. Brown. Yes. Emery. Yes. Beam. Grant. Green. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hanyan. Hayes. Hovey. Klaptowskis. Lau. Lona. Ludwig.
Yes.
Mass. Pfeiffer. Schulte. Simonson. Springer. Samuel. Weathers. Zastro. With a vote of 24 to 0, this debt contract passes. So we'll go to 2020-2-062 SA Women's Hockey Debt Contract with Senator Zastro.
Yep. So, thank you. So this is a club coming through Sports Club Council, which is kind of a different funding process, but that doesn't need to be explained here, really. So, could you just go ahead and talk about the debt contract?
Yeah. So the women's hockey team is currently in debt due to 2 years ago. We rent ice through the Ames city. And they are really slow to get us our bills, so we can't really pay them until we have the bills. And so 2 years ago, they were really behind, and we didn't see the bill until the end of the fiscal year. So it went on next year's, and the new treasurer didn't realize it was for last year. She paid it off, not knowing we didn't have the money for it. And then that was $2,600, and then the last treasurer didn't realize that she didn't do the paperwork to get one of our vehicles taken off. And so we got audited for that. So that's why it's up to $3,000. And then once I became treasurer, I had to do a lot of digging to find out why we were so far in debt. And that's the reason why we are in debt. And then to get out of debt, we are currently doing a sponsorship program that I built, which we ask local communities to sign with us, and we do volunteer projects with them. And then we also have like the logos on our jerseys if they choose that package, or on our t-shirt. We do a banner behind our bench if they choose that package. We give shout outs at the beginning of our game for them, and that's our sponsorship packages. We're also doing fundraising through a couple companies. Right now we're doing one through Hibernate, which is the sheets. We sell sheets to people, and we get about $12.50 per sheet sold. I think we've made 300 so far, and we've been in it for 2 weeks. And we're also working the concession stands. Our first one is this Saturday.
So I would just like to say it's really rare for a club to come to us asking for a debt contract, and they have this amazing profile for already doing things to be getting funding. So just a really great job on your part, and good job figuring out where the money went wrong, and what you need to do to get out of debt. So I think that this is a really great contract with a responsible club. I yield.
Call to question.
You withdraw your call to question. Do you? Or you said it that way, so I couldn't hear you. Senator Lona.
For Senator Zastro, will the money be coming out of Senate discretionary or special projects if the money is lended? Oh, never mind. They're paying us, right?
Yeah, that's it's the student organization debt reserve
Okay,
account.
I yield.
Senator Pfeiffer.
Just out of curiosity, how fast do you expect to pay the whole debt back?
So it is a 3-year, 6-semester, but I'm hoping by the end of the year I can get it paid off. But I'm just not confident because we don't even know if we're going to have a season. So this is more of a preparation that we're going to have a season, so we need the funds to be able to pay for the ice, the travel, and everything. So I'm more preparing that we are going to have a season, but we're not sure. If we don't have a season, I should be able to pay it off by the end of the next semester. But if we do have a season, I could probably work it out into the end of fall 2021, or 21.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. I yield.
Call to question.
Call to question. The second, is there any objection? Seeing none, Senator Zastro.
Vote yes.
We'll go to a roll call vote. Please vote yes, no, or abstain. Atagarla.
Yes.
Edvate.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Emery.
Yes.
Beheem.
Yes.
Grant. Yes. Green.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hanyan. Hayes.
Yes.
Hovey.
Yes.
Klaptowskis. Lau.
Yes.
Lona.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Mass. Pfeiffer. Schulte. Simonson. Springer. Samuel. Weathers. Zastro. With a vote of 24 to 0, this debt contract passes. So we'll now move on to 2020-2-035F, funding outreach ambassadors with Vice Speaker Gonzalez.
Hi, yeah, so this is just some of those StuGov buttons that we were talking about earlier in the year. It's a great way to get outreach, get a conversation going, and have students ask us about what we do here at student government. So with that, I will yield to the floor.
Senator Klapatowskis.
Would it be a friendly to change the title to 2020-2-035?
Any objection? All right. Title's been corrected.
Question?
Been a call to question? And a second. Is there any objection to voting on the bill? Vice Speaker Gonzalez.
Vote yes.
We'll now do a roll call vote. Adegarla. Yes. Edvate. Yes. Anderson. Yes. Brown. Yes. Emery. Yes. Beam.
Yes.
Grant. Yes. Green. Yes. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Anyan. Yes. Hayes. Yes. Hovey. Yes. Klapatowskis. Lau.
Yes.
Lona.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Mass. Yes. Pfeiffer. Yes. Schulte.
Yes.
Simonson. Yes. Springer.
Yes.
Samuel. Weathers. Zastro. Vote of 24 to 0, this funding request passes. So we will now move on to internal matters. Within internal matters, special orders 2020-2-063SO, approving the 2020-2021 election apportionments, and that is with Speaker Ludwig.
All right, so this is a bill that we are required to approve once every year. The Election Commission will go through and reallocate our seats, or the seats for residencies and the seats for colleges in the Senate. And so we just have to basically vote to approve the reapportionment. Does someone, Chase, do you have anything that you want to add about apportionment this year? Yeah, it's all the same, so there's nothing new, so yeah, I yield.
Senator Edvate.
Would the author of the bill take it as a friendly to change the title of the bill to reflect what it actually is? I'm sorry, the bill number.
235, or wait, what?
It should be 67, I believe.
63 SO is what I have on
something
the
like that.
agenda. Is that
Right. Well, there's a mismatch I noticed, so.
any objection to correcting the bill title?
And secondly, would they also take it as a friendly to change the date that the bill was introduced in the Senate? Sweet, that is all I had. I yield.
Senator Emery.
Yes.
Any objection? Great.
Only question?
All right, so there's been a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting on the bill?
No.
All right, then we'll do a roll call vote. Yeah, there's been a call for unanimous consent. Is there any objection to approving the apportionments by unanimous consent? Seeing none, they have been passed by UC. We'll now move on to new business. Within new business 2020-2-038F.
Funding SI survey project and its initiatives.
Funding SI survey project and its initiatives. Senator Edvate.
Point of information, is the bill in the drive yet? Because I can send a link to the Senate
No,
Lisa.
I'll try submitting them again. I tried it earlier. Didn't go through.
Right, while that's being figured out, this is a bill. Here, let me pull up a copy I have, so. Oh, okay. Interesting.
They're in the drive.
Right, fantastic. So if everybody would like to look at the bill, this is so SI committee, last week we had an idea to send out a survey to the entire student body to gauge where the student body was at, what their opinions were, what their experiences have been with this current semester, and the extenuating circumstances experienced as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic concurrent with the semester. As part of the survey, we need funding. There's 3 components to this. We need funding to send out a mass email and to gift cards to serve as incentives for the survey. We also need to transfer enough money that would let us purchase 54 gift cards at $7 each from Amazon. Just to speak to that, ideally we wanted to go with local businesses, but considering this is late in the semester, most people are probably going to be going back and won't be able to spend gift cards that wouldn't really, if they aren't in Ames. So that's why we went with Amazon. That's really all there is for this bill. I'm going to yield for questions at this point.
Are there any questions of intent? Senator Springer.
I guess I don't know if this is can you hear me? Okay. I don't know if this is germane or not, but I was just wondering if Senator Edvate would take it as a friendly to add following after the in the title part.
I don't think we need to make that. I think we can fix that.
Okay.
Move to waive second read, and I'm also going to move to discharge this bill from Finance Committee.
We're gonna do those one at a time.
Move to waive second read.
Gonna move to waive second read. Is there any objection? Okay. Then the second read has been waived.
All right, move to discharge this bill from Finance Committee.
I guess motion to call the bill back from Finance. Is there a second? Okay. And any objection? Any objection? So we will go into a 15-minute debate. Senator Edvate.
Right, and if I may preempt, if this preempts any question, I just wanted to put this out there. We're working on a really tight schedule here. This idea was brought up last week within the Student Initiatives Committee, and as a result, mass emails take 2 weeks to send out. There's a COA form that takes 2 weeks. That's part of why it takes so long. And we really just wanted to have that extra flexibility to work with this shortened timeline and try to get this out before students have to get into finals week, preferably the middle of dead week, which is where we're at right now because we're working on the form that should be out today. So yeah, I'm going to yield for questions at this point again.
Senator Weathers.
Yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to know. I just wanted to know the reasoning for why you were making those motions. But I'm not going to withdraw the rejection and the objection until Senator Zastro has a chance to speak.
Senator Zastro.
Yeah, Finance Committee saw this. We sent it favorably. I guess like technically we didn't actually see it, but we saw this exact bill. So yeah, meets PNC. They need 2 weeks to send a mass email, which is why it's being sent through on first read. I don't like that it's coming through this quick, but they need it to come through this quick for the project to get done. Call the question.
Second.
There's been a call to question on whether to discharge the bill from Finance. Is there any objection to voting on that? Seeing now, we'll go to a placard vote. There's been a call for unanimous consent. Is there any objection to withdrawing the bill by unanimous consent? Vote, basically debating the bill today by, okay. I don't see any objections to debating the bill today. So we're on the bill.
All right,
Senator
so
Edvate.
everything I said about the bill still stands. And just to add to that, I do understand these are extraordinary circumstances. I just wanted to say, please don't push bills. We have a finance process for a reason. We tried to stick to that process as much as possible. Finance has seen the bill. They liked it. They send it to Senate favorably. So this bill's compliant with PNC. And again, I'm going to yield for questions once more.
Senator Springer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Senator Anderson.
You mentioned that you wanted to use local businesses, but you went with Amazon instead because of a time constraint and that people are going home. But usually gift cards don't ever expire. Would you consider going with local businesses again?
So this was a decision of the committee. I personally was in favor of local businesses because I want to patronize Ames local businesses, especially with the pandemic. However, we put this up in a committee poll, and a majority of the committee voted in favor of Amazon gift cards because they just believed that was something people would be more likely to use. And as the vice chair of the committee, I think it's my responsibility to go with whatever the committee says and not overrule it.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Han Young.
Senator Edvate and anybody from student initiatives, I wasn't in your meeting last week, but what was the reasoning behind having 2 mass emails instead of 1? I know that was a point of contention in finance minutes.
Of course. So it was originally 1, but we figured out that if we weren't having the kind of response that we wanted, we'd have to send out a reminder email at some point. And because of the timelines, because there's a 2-week waiting period for going through COA and getting the mass email approved, we wanted to just have that extra flexibility so we could schedule possibly the second mass email and then cancel it in case it wasn't required.
All right, sounds good. I'll yield. Senator Fahim.
I have a question at Vice President Shader. So if we made an amendment to the bill to have the money go to local businesses, could we vote on it as a Senate tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, can I do that? Okay,
Yes.
so I would like to make an amendment to the bill to change the gift cards to be from Amazon to local businesses here.
Point of order, that isn't a specific gift card we can purchase. We would have to have a specific business named on the bill for it to be.
Okay. So
No, that point
Okay.
of order does not stand. You could just say gift cards, and they could just buy whatever gift cards is just binding.
Point of information from a finance perspective. Thank you. From a finance perspective, that would not go over well with our accountant. Just saying that we're spending money on gift cards, it does need to be specific line items.
Okay, so
Okay,
that's not
what
a point
gift
of
cards were you
information.
looking
It
at
can be saved for-
beforehand? Sorry.
That's not a point of information that can be saved for debate, Senator Zastro. So let's propose, Senator Fahim, are you proposing the amendment?
Can I ask a question to Senator Zastro? Actually, no, sorry, Senator Edvate. What local business were you looking at beforehand?
We were looking at a lot. Part of the reason why the committee went with Amazon is because there was a lot of discussion and we couldn't really come up with one. We were thinking ICU dining, but then it's like $7 at ICU dining doesn't really get you in. You're going to have to put in an extra $7 to get into a dining center of your own money. Other than that, if we were going to go with something like Mr. Burrito, that's only on the western end of campus, and people that don't really frequent that part of campus aren't going to be as well served. Same with businesses in other parts of campus. So I think the Amazon idea also helped us get over that sort of, helped us get to a decision quicker in committee. But if you have something you have in mind, I'd encourage you to make a motion, and then we can discuss it on the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to yield for right now.
Okay, so
Call the question.
There's been a call to question on the bill. Is there a second? Okay, there's a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting on the bill? There's been an objection to voting on the bill. So Senator Edvate, do you withdraw?
No.
Okay, so then we're going to go into a
Senator-
15-minute debate on if we should.
It still might.
Senator Simonson, you don't have the floor. So we are in a 15-minute debate on if we should vote on the bill. Senator Edvate, because it's your motion, you have the floor.
Senator Klapostowskis, what's up?
So are we leaving the bill at Amazon gift cards then?
Right, yes. It's at Amazon right now, and that's the bill we would be voting on.
Okay. I personally agree with Senator Fahim that I think there's a wide assortment of businesses that I think would be better fitted for the gift cards.
You still have the floor, Senator.
Mesa, Senator Zastro, what do you have to say?
It's not germane to the call to question.
Leave my call to question still stands.
Right, but this is debate. Every point has to be about if we should vote or not. So the floor is still yours.
Call to question.
So there's been a call to question. Is there a second? So there is a second. We will now move into a vote to vote. So if you vote yes on this, we will go immediately into a vote on the bill as a whole. So please raise your placards.
UC?
Object.
Okay, so please raise your placards up for yes, you would like to vote immediately on the bill. And Senators Hurley and Zavosky, you're not on the roll call, so you cannot vote. So let's do that again. Please raise your placards up for yes. And up for no. Okay, so with a vote of 11 to 13, the motion fails. We'll go back into discussion as the bill as a whole. Senator Edvate, it's still your speaking privilege.
So if I'm understanding correctly, I believe there's some friction over the gift cards coming from Amazon versus local businesses, and
Actually, Senator Edvate, you don't have the ability to have a speaking privilege since you are the bill's author. You can make motions, but you don't have a speaking privilege. That's my bad.
all right, sounds good.
Been a motion to add Senators Zavosky and Hurley to the roll. Is there any objection? And seeing none, those two senators have been added to the roll. Speaker Ludwig.
Senator Edvate, would, I think maybe a compromise would, of maybe doing, for instance, maybe like a Visa gift card or something that people could use at, you know, a location of their choice might be a reasonable compromise. Would that be workable for you?
Right,
In the
that,
committee?
so we had a poll in the committee. Visa gift card was one of the options on the poll, and if I can pull up the poll, if you can give me a second here. My computer can. All right. The Visa gift card got 0 votes. Amazon got 5 votes. ICU Dining / ICU Bookstore got 0 votes. Local Ames businesses got 2 votes, and that's what I was personally in favor of.
Okay.
And just to add to the feasibility aspect of it, I'm not sure you can get Visa gift cards that are $7. I made sure you can get $7 gift cards from Amazon. I'm not sure that works for Visa gift cards.
Okay. I will yield for now.
Senator Zastro.
I think that if we're debating what kind of gift cards are going to be sent out on this bill is not ready to be voted on. I think it needs to be stick with Amazon, what we already have, or we shouldn't be voting on it tonight. If somebody wants to table it a week, if they think that we need more time to consider it, then at that point, it'll probably be too late to send out a mass email before students go home. I think vote on it as is, or we just need to kill the bill. I yield.
All right, Senator Hovey.
Yeah, so I just wanted to speak a little bit more to the reasoning of choosing Amazon gift cards. Obviously, the best case scenario would be to do Ames local businesses. It's just like it's an issue of what local businesses do we choose? Like, will students even be interested in the locations that we choose? And then it's like, yeah, do they even like it? So I think our thinking of choosing Amazon gift cards where people can get literally whatever they want, since it's such a broad website. And with the Visa gift cards as well, I think our thinking was, I don't know, like a $7 Visa gift card is kind of weird, but at the same time, $7 Amazon gift card is basically the same thing. But yeah, I just wanted to speak to that a little more. It would just be easiest. I think students would appeal to that more, in my opinion. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. I yield.
Senator Anderson.
So I personally don't want to support getting gift cards from Amazon just because that creates more carbon emissions in the moving of the packages, whatever they order. So I think that Visa gift cards would be the best option. You can get them for $7. You can get any number you want. It's basically like giving them cash. So I move to amend the bill to state gift cards from Amazon to Visa gift cards.
All right, so there's been a motion to amend from Amazon to Visa. Is there a second?
Second.
There was a second. Is there any objection to consideration of the amendment? There's been an objection to consideration of the amendment. We'll have a 15-minute debate period on if we should consider the amendment. Senator Anderson, it is your floor.
What's up?
My only concern with Visa gift cards is I believe they do charge taxes, which could create a problem with finances.
Yeah, that's germane to if you should vote for the amendment, not if we should consider
Okay.
debate on the amendment. So, not germane.
Then I yield.
Point of information, has the motion been withdrawn?
Withdraw.
So the amendment has been withdrawn, so we are back onto the whole bill. Maybe Senator Anderson, you can make your amendment again. I think ideally the objection would have been withdrawn instead.
Okay. I moved that the bill states instead of gift cards from Amazon, Visa gift cards.
Okay, so there's been a motion to replace from Amazon to make it say Visa gift cards. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any objection to consideration? There's been an objection to consideration, so we'll do another 15-minute debate period. Senator Anderson, the floor is back to you.
I yield.
Senator Hayes.
Yeah, so I'm objecting just because I want to reiterate Mason's point about what is going to be more important here, whether we get the bill sent out today or whether we argue for an indispensable amount of time about which specific businesses we're going to end up listing here for the gift cards. And now we're talking about the Visa gift cards, but even then, I personally, we've already debated probably for 25 minutes, maybe half an hour in our, committee about, which specific gift cards. I think that this debate would go on probably for as long as it could possibly go. And then we still would not be, in agreement. And I just do not find that, I think that we should prioritize voting on the bill as a whole, as is, over which specific gift cards, because I think that the benefit about receiving the survey responses and getting the survey passed on time is more beneficial than nitpicking on what gift cards we provide as the incentive for the important survey responses.
Senator Simonson.
I think the email should be sent. We can have the gift card argument later if anybody would support just dealing with the gift card issue later and sending the email out this week if we feel that important about Amazon. So I move that we strike all the language about gift cards or spending money on the gift cards, or just vote to send the email.
No, this is a debate about should we consider the amendment, the Visa
I'm
amendment.
way lost here. I give up. This is
So, if anyone would like to debate currently, it must be about if we should consider the amendment exclusively on that narrow issue. Senator Pfeiffer.
I think we should consider the amendment, vote immediately. If it doesn't pass, then we go on and strike the gift cards, do it next week, pass the emails today, and we'll figure out gift cards next week. I yield.
Senator Weathers. Been a call to question?
Second.
Is there any objection? Well, I suppose it doesn't matter because there's not another layer we can go. So we'll have put your placards up for yes, we should consider the amendment. And put your placards up for no, we should not consider the amendment. Okay, so the yeses have it. So we will consider the amendment. We are on debate on the amendment specifically, so only about if Amazon should be replaced with Visa. Senator Anderson, the floor is yours because it was your motion.
I yield.
Senator Zastro.
Just as a matter of fact, we are a tax-exempt organization, so whether or not Visa gift cards are tax-exempt is not relevant. Excuse me. Also, the Senator Anderson, I believe you mentioned that you found a $7 Visa gift card.
You can get Visa gift cards and any amount in quantity or dollar amount.
When I'm just looking it up online, I can't find one for that where you can make it less than 10.
Okay. I mean, I will look further, but.
Senator Edvate, have you found something?
Right, I wanted to reflect what Senator Zastro said. This is part of what we discussed in committee. It's really hard to find a bill that, a Visa gift card that fits that. And secondly, Visa gift cards, it's not taxes, they have fees. They have a fee schedule attached to them. There's a fee to get the cards, I believe, and even if the fee doesn't exist, if you don't use up the balance on the card, there's like a deduction of $1 a month or $2 a month, and that's not the case for store gift cards. And we were planning on avoiding that.
Yeah, this is rushed. I think we need to reject this amendment. I think we need to remove gift cards from the bill. We can fund the mass emails, and then next week we can see a hopefully more thought-through version of funding the gift card bill. And if that bill fails, then we can cancel the mass emails. I yield.
Great, so we'll go to Senator Edvate.
Right, I just wanted to add to what the committee's thought on this. I'm personally in favor of local businesses, but here's the thing. Most people are going to be ordering stuff off of Amazon themselves. It's the holiday season, so giving them an extra $7 is not going to really, just to speak to the carbon emissions point of that, I understand the concern, but most people are going to be ordering from Amazon anyway. Adding that $7 in there is a relevant way for the student body to get a good incentive to fill out the survey, which is what we're here to do, which is what the primary function of this bill is. We put a lot of thought into this. We've had it go through finance. And secondly, if someone really wants to, it is possible to patronize local businesses via Amazon. You can select where the items are coming from, and I think if that's a really big concern, I personally, if I get a gift card, that's what I'm going to do, and I would encourage people to do that as well. And I encourage you to keep that in mind while voting on this amendment, and that's why I think we need to vote it down. I yield.
Call the question.
I called a question on the amendment and a second. Is there any objection? Then hearing none, we'll have a placard vote. So please raise your placards up for yes, you would like to replace Amazon with Visa. And up for no. The noes have it. So that amendment fails. We'll go back to the bill. Senator Anderson, since it was your motion, you can continue your speaking privilege.
Are any placards up? Yes? Okay, I yield.
Zastro.
Motion to change the paid board organization for gift cards from Amazon to $378, the amount requested from student government to 0, and that all totals be changed accordingly.
Okay, so there's been a motion to zero fund the gift card line. There was a second. Is there any objection or consideration? We'll go to debate on it. Senator Zastro.
Yeah, I've already said why I think this is a good thing. We can have this gift card conversation. We don't need to have it in Senate right now. I yield.
Senator Han Young.
Chair Hovey, question for you. Does this delay the process of the gift card distribution at all?
Yeah, because so by tonight we need to have something, we need a body and a subject line typed up to send through an approval form. And so in the body of that email, we need to say like, hey, you have a chance to win one of 54 Amazon gift cards. We need that specific information in there. So, yeah, it would probably delay the process a little bit if we had to wait to put in this form to see what we're going to choose for gift cards.
Great. Time is the most valuable constraint of this project here. I yield.
Senator Anderson.
As much as I don't want these gift cards to come from Amazon, it's really more important that the entire bill as a whole is passed and the gift cards are passed and you can do everything you want through this email. So I still feel like this amendment is taking away from that. So that's why I don't think we should vote on it and it should not exist.
Senator Edvate.
Right. Part of this is so we have to fill out a gambling form through COA because this is essentially a gift raffle, and I just asked Vice Chair Zastor about it, and they just asked Chair Class about it, and we don't really have a lot of certainty on what fields the form has, but I'm guessing that we have to be pretty specific about where the gift cards are coming from, what the details of the gambling event are, and just from that perspective, I think it's best to just have this in the bill and pass it right now. Secondly, we've taught a lot about this already. It's gone through student initiatives. We've talked about this at finance, and even if we have an extra, I don't know, committee meeting to talk about this, I don't imagine the results are going to change. Like I said, I was personally in favor of local businesses, but the committee is overwhelmingly in favor of Amazon. More discussion, I don't think is going to change that. We're just going to have a repeat of this on the floor next week, and I think, given how much business we have, it's best to just leave this in. Like I said, you can patronize local businesses on Amazon if you want. Most people are going to be ordering from Amazon anyway. All of that said, I would encourage this amendment to be voted down. I will be voting no. I encourage voting no as well for everybody.
Any objection? All right, then we'll vote on the amendment. Please raise your placards up for yes, you would like to zero fund the gift card line. And up for no. So, using math, I will say 4 to 22. This amendment fails. We'll go back to the bill as a whole. Senator Zastrow, the floor is to you.
Yeah, this is rushed. We don't know what forms are on the gambling sheet because this was seen in front of Finance Committee. It was sent to our inboxes during the meeting. This project needs to be planned out further ahead. We're trying to do this project with 2 weeks left in the semester. You need to submit a mass email request 2 weeks in advance. So even if we fund this tonight, the mass email is being sent out during prep week. Let me make sure that's correct. That's right. So this is, I don't think we should be funding this. If we saw this 2 weeks ago, if we saw this a month ago, this would be great. This is good information that we would be getting from this kind of survey. It's too late. There's not enough planning. Senator Edvate, were you aware before yesterday that you needed to submit a gambling form to do this kind of raffle?
We were looking at a policy document put out by IT services, and that included a list of all the forms that need to be filled out surrounding all of these circumstances.
All right, well, I'm glad, but the fact that you weren't aware of this, I think it demonstrates that this bill isn't ready. I would recommend to vote no. I yield.
Senator Fahim.
I would just like to echo Senator Zastrow's point that this bill does seem a little bit rushed and that we should wait to send it out. Even if it doesn't get sent out this semester, I think that that's all right. And I think that 2 points that have been neglected are that Amazon over the pandemic has made $5.2 billion compared to 2.6 in 2019, and 100,000 local businesses have closed. So I think it's really important where we're spending our money, and that money shouldn't be spent on Amazon. It should be spent on local businesses here. I yield.
Call the question.
There's been a call to
Object.
question on the bill. Was there a second? There was a second. There was an objection. So we'll go to if no one withdraws their motions, then we'll go to a 15-minute debate on the bill. So Senator Ludwig, 15-minute debate on should we vote now on the bill.
Yeah, I think we all know where we're going to end up on this bill, and I think we've wasted enough time on it. So I think it's just best that we vote now and move on. So I yield.
Second.
There's been a call to question on whether we vote or not, and there was a second, and so we will now have a vote to vote. So if you raise your placard up for yes, that means we will immediately vote on the bill as a whole. So please raise your placards up for yes. Okay, and then up for no. Up for abstentions. Okay, so with a vote of 24-2, we will now move immediately on to a full vote. But first, we will give Senator Edvate his closing statement.
Well, I think we've had a lot of discussion on the floor tonight, and I would just like to sort of address some of the points that have come up. This bill is not rushed, right? This is a bill that we've been talking about for over a week, which is the regular timeline for any bill. This has been through finance. We've tried to make it fit into the regular process as much as possible. This fits PNC. We have that for certain. People are going to order stuff off of Amazon anyway. I think we should be thinking about what gets survey responses the most. I personally was in favor of local businesses, yes, but we shouldn't be letting that get in the way of what our job is, which is to be an advocacy group. And an advocacy group needs information. There has not been a single survey put out by the university administration. There has been one put out by any branch of student government that focuses on the entire student body, right? And we think going into prep week, and that time is actually pretty good, because once you're done with finals, you're going to have a survey in front of you to fill out. That's what the reminder email is for. We're also planning on beating all of the reminder emails, all of the, you know how you get one of those please rate this class emails? We will be beating those under the timeline we have right now. And if this were to be shot down, I can tell you for certain, this bill is going to come back next semester, because we still need to do the survey. We need this information to be a better student government. And it's probably going to look the same. We're probably going to have the same discussion over gift cards. But this bill has really been thought through. I've spent hours on this myself, thinking about the ins and outs of it. And for example, it's $7, because I think that's a substantial enough amount while not being too high for student government. I'm just going to say, even if we were to consider this next semester, it's going to look pretty much the same. And I don't know. I'd rather it be passed right now, but I really understand if you don't. I've heard some valid concerns, so I'm going to leave it up to the body. I yield.
All right, we'll now do a roll call vote. Please say yes, no, or abstain when I call your name. Ada Garland. Edvate. Anderson. Brown. Emery. Fahim. Grant. Green. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Anyang. Hayes. Hovey. Hurley. Klaptatauskas. Lau. Lona. Ludwig.
No.
Mass. Pfeiffer. Schulte. Simonson. Springer. Samuel. Weathers. Zastro. Savosky. Anyang. The vote is 17-2. This funding request fails. We'll now go on to the next item of new business, which was 039Y. And I don't know the title of that bill as it was added late, but I think it's with Senator Edvate, maybe.
Right, title. All right, so this is a bill that talks about statements of authority. A statement of authority is something in legislation that specifies exactly what gives a government or a governing body the power to do what the legislation is asking the government to do. This is something the United States Congress does already, and they've been doing it since 2011. And I and a couple of people I've been talking to think this is a great idea, and it's a good way to make sure that we check ourselves. Checks and balances are great. Checks and balances are important, but you know what's even better? An institution check in itself. So unnecessary conflicts and time lost with the whole process is avoided. So this is just a bill. We're gonna see it coming through the body next week for a vote. I'm planning on this going through rules so we can hammer out the details, but this should be enforcing an authority statement for every action carried out by all of student government. I'm going to yield for questions.
Are there any questions of intent? Senator Zastro.
Is your intent that for every motion there needs to be a relevant authority statement?
No, it would not be for a motion. It would be for...
No, you just got to answer yes or no.
No.
Thank you, I yield.
Any further questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll move on to 2020-2-067 SR. I also don't know the title of that one. Senator Edvate.
Yes, the title of this title. All right, so the title of this bill is Light at Night by Stopping Switching Around Time. And this is a bill in favor of permanent daylight saving time. What this means is instead of switching our clocks back and forth, we just stay on daylight saving time throughout the year. There's legislation in favor of this in the Iowa House of Representatives and the Iowa Senate this year, and the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Congress passed the Uniform Time Act in 1964, I believe, and that prevents states from being able to make their own decisions in this regard. And this bill also says that we're supporting a measure in the U.S. Congress to allow states to make that decision for themselves. Why? Number one, you're going to have an extra hour of sunlight in the evening. And secondly, studies have found that increased safety and crime is reduced by up to 7% by having that extra hour of daylight in the evenings and in the evenings. I'm going to yield for questions of intent.
Are there any questions of intent? Then seeing none, we'll move on to 2020-2-064 SO election code, and I will do that with Speaker Ludwig.
Title. All right, so this is the bill to approve the election code and establish it. So, yeah, I think the Election Commission sent it out last week or the week before. If not, I'll probably just forward it all to Senate again after tonight. If you just want to look it over, have any questions, thoughts, feel free to reach out to Election Commission, ask questions. Yeah, I yield.
Are there any questions of intent for either Speaker Ludwig or the members of the Election Commission that are here? Okay, then seeing none, we'll move on to 2020-2-036Y, extending pandemic policies, and that is with Speaker Ludwig.
Title. Right, so Chapter 17 expires at the end of this semester. This bill just sets it up to go on through the rest of the following semester. So, I yield.
Any questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll go to 2020-2-037F, establishing P&C for the 2022 fiscal year, and I have that with Senator Zastro.
Title.
Move to consider as read.
This is a big deal, you guys. Please, please, please read through it. Read through the annotated version that I sent you that tells you what the changes are. Read through the Finance Committee minutes that have been sent out by Chief of Staff Rowling if you have any questions about why we're changing what we are, or shoot a text to me, class, Pfeiffer, Lona, Bender. If you have any amendments, please get them into me by Monday. Really excited for the debate on this next week. It's always a great one. I yield.
Are there any questions of intent for Senator Zastro? Seeing none, we'll go to 2020-2-065 SA, Men's Basketball Club debt contract, also with Senator Zastro.
Title.
Move to consider as read.
Debt contract with Men's Basketball Club. We'll see it on Tuesday in Finance Committee.
Any questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll go to 2020-2-066 SA, Men's Ultimate Frisbee Club debt contract with Senator Zastro.
Move to consider as read.
Men's Ultimate Frisbee is getting a debt contract. We'll see it on Tuesday in Finance Committee. I yield.
All right, are there any questions of intent? Then seeing none, we'll move on to closing announcements. If you have a closing announcement for the body, please raise your placard in the air. Senator Hovey.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say I definitely understand the perspectives of other students. I just think it's really unfortunate that we spent so much time discussing the technicalities of gift cards rather than the amount of information we would be able to receive from this survey. COVID-19 is not going anywhere anytime soon, so yeah, just I think next semester, hopefully I'm not going to be here next semester because I'm graduating in November. But next semester, I really hope SI committee continues with this survey because it will give us a lot of good information that not only SI committee will be able to use, but all of the student government committees and the administration as well. So I yield.
Senator Edvate.
Thank you all. This election season is not ending anytime soon, and it is very stressful. But you know what isn't stressful? Lectures. Speaking of lectures, coming up in the next week, we have White Mansions, Black Bodies, Jordan Peele's Get Out, and a New Age Slave Plantation by Dr. Novotny Lawrence on the 5th of November at 6 p.m. We have Innovation at the Intersection of Technology and Society by David Slump on 6 November at 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. And then we have Short Circuit, Social Innovation, Creating a Public Voice by Ramsey G. Tesdall on 11 November 2020, 2 p.m. That's it for the lectures, and we are getting into a very heated and a very hectic part of the semester, so just wanted to say, everybody take care of yourself, be sure to relax. I've definitely let the stress get to me, and not good, so other than that, please, I just have a request for the body to read everything that's that's going to be up for second read next week, because we do have a lot to go through, lots of important stuff coming through, especially PNC. Just to reflect what Vice Chair Zastro said, please get any amendments into finance or to the Vice Chair by the middle of the day Monday, so they have an opportunity to look over it and make sure it fits into the rest of PNC better. That's all I have. Everybody have a fantastic night.
Senator Hanyan.
Good debate tonight. Please have some empathy for yourselves and others while we're in these meetings. I think that everybody being a little bit tired tonight, understandable with finals, with an election, with a lot of stuff going on, that's fine. But please remember, this is a professional environment. Comments on bills are good, but please try to limit to that. The mics are on. Please don't curse. Don't curse into where you can be seen, stuff like that. We are being watched by the student body. Sorry. And then I appreciate everybody being here. Obviously, if you need time to, during this election, during this time, if you need resources, obviously, people in Senate are here for you. As people who have been here before for this time of year, PNC obviously is very important as well. So I would say, like Senator Zastro said, like Senator Edvate said, please read the bills next week. There's obviously a lot more than just PNC that is important for the next year, so keep that in mind.
President Fritz.
All right, so everybody should have received an email around 5 p.m. from Nicole Whitlock, who is the ex officio Ames City Council liaison. So tomorrow, the City of Ames is holding their annual town budget meeting. So if there are any issues that you see within her email that you'd like addressed, that you'd like her to bring up, please email her with those. This is our opportunity to have input on the city's budget. Further, if you'd like to, physically attend it over Zoom, there is a link in her email as well. So, any questions, comments, please direct them to her. It'd be great to have more engagement with the city. Thank you.
Senator Hayes.
Hi, everybody. Good debate tonight. I just wanted to reiterate what Emily said, that, just again, great debate. Thought there was a lot of good points said, but I would have bad conscience without saying that I thought that today, I was a little bit disappointed that the discussion heavily revolved around, just something that I thought was the lesser important part of a specific bill. As well as that, a survey responses are only important because of what you can do with those responses. And I think that the potential that we have of pushing this back also limits the amount of time that we have to act on that potential. But with that said, again, great debate. And also I'm doing the Senate recap for PR tonight. So if someone wants to come up to me after the meeting and get that taken care of, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, then I can go. Like President Fritz said, the Ames budget meeting, I think as Senator Zastro or any member of finance can tell you, the annual budget process for any governmental organization is the most important thing they do, whether it's going to be annuals for us and bless Finance Committee for when they start that and start doing long days. But this is the start of the City of Ames budget process. which will impact all of our lives. The meeting tomorrow is just an open call for members of the community to give input. So please attend, even if you don't say anything. I don't think student turnout of these things is typically very high. And it could maybe help send a great message to the city that, we're ready to be engaged and the students want to work with the city towards planning a better future for everybody. Then the last point, so I have been to 4 years of Senate meetings, which is probably about over 70 at this point. I will say this is probably the worst and least productive Senate meeting I've been to out of those 70. We took 45 minutes to establish quorum. We debated the bills where students had to sit here and watch us scramble around to try and get quorum for 45 minutes and just voted on those with no problem, and then spent, a long time, and how many amendments that were done in rushed ways or hurried ways. We had bills proposed to the agenda that were not in the Google Drive, that had not been shared to senators, so senators didn't know what was happening. So when they read the bill, then they had concerns, and the only way we could deal with those concerns at this point was to deal with them on the floor. Please, if you're going to propose bills, send them out beforehand. If you're going to add them to the agenda, even if you're not going to waive second read, let senators read the bills. And if we're going to move to consider as read, and what's the title of the bill? Let's slow down a little bit and make sure we do it right. We had countless friendly amendments on bills just from simple mistakes. Please proofread them when you send them in, understand what's going on. And again, the quorum issue, how bad does that make us look as an organization if we can't even get, if we make people sit here for 45 minutes and watch us understand, and then give a pledge of allegiance to a Google search of the American flag? I understand that I'm talking about actions of specific people, but we add together as a body, and this is on all of us. For the people that can't be here, please let me know before, an hour or two before the meeting. I had a large number of people say, I can't make the meeting, with 2 or 3 hours or 1 hour before the meeting. But when people ask if they can be excused or unexcused, I look at if we're going to have quorum problems. And sometimes there's edge cases. So I excused people tonight from this morning that had valid reasons to not be here, but I could have maybe tried to ask and negotiate with that. But because I hadn't received any other comments from people that weren't going to be here, I figured it would be fine. So let's plan ahead. The proxy rules are very broad now. So if you're not going to be here, proxy in, right, at least, then we can have quorum. Let's get on top of it. And if you're going to make motions that are complicated, you can let me know beforehand and we can talk through so we make sure we do those right. I think we can do a lot better as a body, and I know we can because we've had a ton of meetings before this, but let's just have this be a one-off thing, and let's move on and become a more effective organization going forward. So thanks, and I saw Senator Hurley rose his placard, so I'll call on Senator Hurley.
I'll just talk loudly.
No.
So, Jesus fucking. So essentially, it was a act of God incident that caused me to not be able to be here quite on time. It happens to the best of us, uncontrollable. So that's the mood. That's the motion.
Thank you. Vice Speaker Gonzalez.
The least we can do is communicate with each other and talk to each other. So with that, treat people with kindness, hold yourself accountable. And then also just one last thing that I wanted to mention is, because so much is happening right now, just make sure to do your mentor-mentee meetings. But instead of doing 2 this month, you can just do 1. But please, please, please just communicate that with me. Other than that, have a great night.
All right. Yeah. Only thing I've got for y'all is don't send me new bills next week. If you do, please talk to me tonight or this week. Give me a heads up if you've suddenly got a very last minute thing. But at this point, I would recommend to all of you, if you're going to write a bill,
wait till next semester or deal with it then. I don't think we need to be having anything on first read next week, or sorry, in new business next week. So, yeah, don't send me bills. Take care of yourself. Move to adjourn.
Any objection? All right, we're adjourned.